Is your wife happy? A wife's happiness matters. A man has a responsibility. Today's focus: a one-year honeymoon for the newly married. Fine Foods, 7 minutes a day, 1 Bible a year. Grace and peace, everyone. Today, our reading brings us to Deuteronomy, chapters 21 through 24. Our key verses: if a man has recently married, he must not be sent to war or have any other duty laid on him. For 1 year, he is to be free to stay at home and bring happiness to the wife he has married. Deuteronomy 24, here it refers to the men after entering the land of Canaan. These men were of military age and could be called up for war or for public service. Deuteronomy mentions this regulation. If a man has recently married, do not assign such duties to him. It's like a 1-year honeymoon. This 1-year honeymoon is given in order to value one's own wife. Note, it's not for a man's own happiness, but for her happiness, her joy, her delight, so that she finds satisfaction in this marriage. Because the husband is the head of the wife, her support, and in marriage, wife and husband are joined to become one. When we love our wives, it is as loving our own bodies. You could say this is a remarkably thoughtful and gracious regulation. The book of Deuteronomy is about the reiteration of the commands and the preparation of the second generation to enter Canaan. Our reading today covers social and family life. Although previously we discussed warfare, but now is about family life, specifically a man's duty to care for his wife. Let's turn to the scripture. The men of Israel in the time of Canaan. If a man has recently married, he must not be sent to war or have any other duty laid on him. For 1 year, he is to be free to stay at home and bring happiness to the wife he has married. Deuteronomy 24, we know that men tend to operate from a logic-based perspective, while women tend to operate from a feeling-based perspective. Let me ask you a question. Is your career more important, or is your family more important? Because the passage here speaks of going out to war. Going to battle brings military merit. On one hand, it's saying, don't value your career more than you value your wife. On the other hand, it's telling the leaders of each tribe, don't assign these duties to them. Whether for the individual or the community, family comes first. Of course, balancing both is ideal, but when you can't, choose family. Bring happiness to the wife he has married. You know the saying, happy wife, happy life. Have you seen it happen? When a wife is unhappy, the husband gets dragged down and the children are affected as well. Of course, the recently married spoken of here means that during this year, they can prepare for pregnancy and add new members to the family. Whether in the newlywed stage or in later married life, the wife's happiness is crucial. In other words, if the wife isn't happy, the whole family isn't happy. In conversations with brothers and sisters, and in my own marriage, I've found this to be a consistent pattern. Women place great importance on emotions and feelings, while men often default to reasoning and explanations. Sometimes, when something has already happened, the better path is to allow her to express the feelings and emotions. That allows her joy to return, and in the end, that matters most. And the rule God has established is this: husbands and wives are heirs together of the gracious gift of life. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. 1 Peter 3. This be considerate refers to understanding. Understanding of marriage, of men and women. Live with your wife according to this understanding and relate to her accordingly. Compared to the husband, the wife is the weaker partner. Yet you are heirs together of the gracious gift of life, a gift that comes from God. Therefore, you are not only to live with her according to understanding, but also to treat her with respect, to treat her as someone of great worth. On the spiritual level, this means your prayers will not be hindered. Note, prayers not being hindered is crucial. Why are our prayers to God sometimes hindered? For example, If I had cherished sin in my heart, the Lord would not have listened. To worship and pray in the Spirit and in truth, that is prayer not being hindered. Prayers not hindered means God is pleased to receive our prayers, because prayer is a form of offering, a sacrifice. Sometimes it's thanksgiving, sometimes it's praise. Prayer is also a form of petition. We ask God for things to be well, for our prayers to be answered. So, if prayer is hindered, then receiving the gracious gift of life is also hindered. When we are considerate of our wife's weakness, nothing will hinder our prayers. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Ephesians 5. A husband's love for his wife should be like Christ's love for the church. A husband gives himself up for his wife. A wife submits to her husband. This is meant to be applied to oneself. It's not that the husband uses wives should submit to demand of the wife, nor the wife uses husband must give himself up to demand of the husband. This is for each person to receive and live out for themselves. When we are all willing to offer ourselves in this way, the right cycle, the good cycle, begins. Because an earthly marriage is a foreshadowing of the heavenly marriage, the relationship between us and Christ. Although men tend to be more rational and stronger in certain respects, both men and women belong to the church. Both are part of the bride of Christ. In relation to Christ, all are weak. That's why Christ gave himself up for the church and why we all submit to Christ. From this, we understand that treating your wife with consideration and respect is connected to the effectiveness of your prayers. It is profoundly important. FineFoods, 7 minutes, quick reminder. Please email us to receive a Bible reading plan. We offer 2 different plans. Choose the one according to your preference. You can start this 1-year plan at any time. By this time next year, you'll have completed the entire Bible, reading guide to Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy is about the reiteration of the commands and the preparation of the second generation to enter Canaan, set in the latter part of the Mosaic Age. Chapter 21, Atonement for an Unsolved Murder. For example, even in cases of unsolved murder, a sin offering must be made for the land and for the people living on it to make atonement. Such a thing is indeed possible. There is much in this world that remains hidden from us, but fully known to God. Our calling is to walk in obedience. Chapter 22, Marriage Violations. If a husband suspects his wife of unfaithfulness, how is the matter to be handled? Chapter 23, God turns the curse into a blessing. Chapter 24, Regulations concerning marriage. Today's focus, a 1-year honeymoon for the newly married. Happy wife, happy life. Through earthly marriage, we come to know heavenly marriage. Treating your wife with consideration and respect is connected to the effectiveness of your prayers. Blessed is the one whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. FineFoods7 minutes. See you tomorrow.